Hey everyone, happy Motivational Monday. I am doing another live Motivational Monday late at night here. So I am recording this on Facebook and YouTube at the same time. So if you're watching this replay and you see me responding to people's comments, I'm not crazy and talking to myself. All right, so let me jump over here. It's always a little more difficult when I'm doing a live video, so kind of bear with me. All right, guys, so tonight I want to talk about why and how to create space in your life. So I'm popping on pretty late tonight. My kids are already in bed. We just had a very full day, and so I haven't really had a chance to jump on today. So I wanted to kind of sit down with you guys tonight when I could think straight and just kind of share a little bit of what was on my heart with you guys, as always, as I do every Monday. So I've been feeling a lot of need for space in my life lately. And a lot of you might know that my word for the year is balance. And so I've been just really working on balancing all aspects of my life, my personal life with my hobbies and my me time, with my work life and growing my business and helping all of you amazing ladies and everything that I do there, nurturing and growing my marriage, of course, and taking care of my family as a whole, my kids, homeschooling, like everything. I really felt like by the end of last year that I was kind of just juggling everything, and that if I was doing good in one area, I was kind of failing in another area, or not failing, but lacking in another area. And I just really felt like I was not balancing everything the way that I wanted to. So I just really felt that was my word for the year. And the more and more that the weeks and months of the year go on, the more I just am like, yes, this is the perfect word. I just told my husband the other day, I was like, the more and more I come into the year, the more I'm like, balance. I needed balance more than I thought I did. Like, I knew I needed it, but I really, really needed it. And one of those things that I am learning through working on the balance is that I really needed a lot more space in my life, and I needed a lot more gray area. And I've talked about this gray area, what I call it, a lot lately. And for me, that is basically just time when I'm not working, I'm not homeschooling, but yet I'm not asleep. Because last year there wasn't a lot of time, there wasn't a lot of gray area in my life. I was either like very on with my work or very on with my family, or I was asleep. There wasn't really like an in-between. There wasn't space. So I've really been finding myself needing that space and needing it in a lot of different ways. And so I feel like this is a message that a lot of women and mothers, wives, wherever you are on your journey, I feel like it's kind of a universal thing that we all have to learn how to give ourselves space in our life and why we need it. And I want to share a couple examples of how you can achieve space, some things that have helped me. So I just feel like we know when things aren't right, or we're not kind of in a flow. Like I said, like I just really felt that urge that things were not balanced. And it's really crazy that the more and more intentional you get with your life and the more and more you slow down, the easier it is to kind of sense that with yourself. So it is like a learning process, because obviously you can't just slam on the brakes and just stop everything and just, say, I need space, and so I'm just not going to do anything. Obviously, you can't just like, quit your job or lock yourself in your room or whatever. You do have to, it is kind of a learning process where you get better and better at it as you go, just like with any journey, of course. But like I said, I feel like when you need space. I feel like when things aren't in the flow. And we've all had those days where it's like no matter what you do, you just feel like you're beating your head against the wall. You're dropping things, you're tripping over things. Everyone is in a bad mood. You're arguing, like you can feel that tension. We all have that. Just, I don't know if it's like an animal instinct or whatever it is, but we all have it. And we know when we need that space. We know when we need extra rest or whatever our body is craving. The hard part is slowing down enough and quieting down enough to listen to it and to act on it, right? So even though we're like, wow, this, I just feel like I'm just banging my head against the wall, I'm not being productive today, but it's got to get done, right? So a lot of times it's hard to slow down and to actually act on those times when we know that we need that space. But it's so important. It's so important to listen to our body, to listen to our spirit. Sometimes we just feel like crushed, like we're just like, oh, I just can't give what I need to give right now. Or we feel like God is pulling us in a direction or pushing us or calling us or whatever. And, we have to create that space to be able to follow whatever God is calling us to do, whatever our body needs to do, whatever our family needs us to do, whatever it is. And we have to hit pause. We can't just keep beating our head against the wall. We can't just keep staying frustrated. We can't just leave things messy, right? We have to hit pause, slow down. We have to create that space. We have to breathe for a minute. Just breathe for a minute. And it will help us get so much more in tune to whatever it is that we need that space for. Whether, we're physically tired, we're mentally tired, our spirit is just worn, or God is calling us to something that, is a new venture for us, or our family needs us, or whatever it is. We have to hit pause and slow down sometimes to create that space and to breathe. And that gray area in our life is so necessary. Sometimes we feel it coming, but we don't know what it's for yet, right? We just feel like, today I just really need to just sit here. And maybe we're sitting there and an amazing idea comes in our head, right? That never would have happened if we wouldn't have sat down. Or how many times this happens, it feels like it happens to me all the time. I'll be awake and laying in bed and I can't go to sleep. And one of the kids will come in, crying that she had a nightmare and she needs me or something. And I'm like, well, maybe that gray area of why I couldn't sleep was because I needed to be available for her. Maybe my family needed me that day or something. But we have to slow down enough to be open to that. We have to create that space. And we have to make it a goal, I think, to slow down and to create that gray area. And for me, I'm such a goals-oriented, to-do list, has to be written down kind of person that I almost have to write on my to-do list to not do things, which seems really silly. But that's just kind of how it is for me. So if I want to intentionally make time to sit outside or plant flowers or water my flowers, which is one of my goals for the month, is to sit outside and tend to my flowers. I have to put it on my goals list or it's not going to get done. I have to put it on my to-do list. So some things that you can do, some examples of how you can create this space in your own life. So maybe you need to create some financial space, which a lot of us do if we're on a budgeting journey. We need to create that space with some money. So some things that you can do is you can cut back on your spending. And this doesn't have to be a lot, you guys. Like I said, this is a gradual growing process. This isn't something that you have to jump head first, full speed into. You can gradually work up to it. So you can start by cutting back $5 a week. You can start by cutting back $10 a week. It doesn't have to be a lot. It can be a gradual process that, you know, you cut back little by little by little. You don't have to jump full speed into it. You can ease into it if that's what you need to do. But even $5, you know, like I always like to visualize, if there was $5 laying on the ground on the sidewalk, would I stop and pick it up? Yes. Then it's worth your effort, right? So $5 might not seem like a lot, but you wouldn't throw $5 away. So it is something. It is a little bit of space, right? So look for something that you can cut back in your spending. Look for, maybe you can cut back some of your fun money this week or this month and find something free to do instead, and take that money and do something intentional with it. And that'll give you a little bit of breathing room. And a lot of times the things that we found, especially with our kids, is that some of the free things are some of the things that they actually get more enjoyment out of. So take some of that fun money and do something intentional with it, and instead do something free. Maybe you can pay that extra money towards debt or save it, or maybe it'll just give you some breathing room until the next payday or something like that. Some other things that you can do is invite some of your friends over instead of going out, or go over to their house instead of going out. You know, get the kids together, let them run around and play, and you guys can visit, and, you know, maybe both families can chip in for dinner, and so it's not quite as expensive. Or, you know, do something a little more frugal. And especially if you have young kids, your friends have young kids, they're probably going to be relieved to not go out as well, because it is a struggle to go out to restaurants if you have young kids. So that's something really fun that you can do, especially if you're in the States, you know, and it's starting to get warmer here. You know, we're getting into springtime and everything. You know, stay home, have a barbecue, go outside, let the kids run around and play. It's so much cheaper, and a lot of times a lot more fun. Some other things that you can do is find some things to sell. Find, you know, as I'm going to talk about this in a minute too, but as you're, you know, doing your spring cleaning and purging, find some of those things that you can sell that will create a little bit of wiggle room and give you some of that space that you need financially to help you kind of get ahead a little bit. Or, you know, get creative. Pick up a side hustle. It is amazing when you put your mind in the right spot of making money, finding extra money. When you are laser focused on it, it is amazing how the opportunities kind of present themselves. So get creative, and don't be afraid to pick up a side hustle or something that is going to help you create that financial space that you are needing and probably really, really craving right now. So if you are looking for physical space, a lot of times for me, you know, especially if you have little kids, you're just like, just, you know, don't touch me. I just need some space right now. So maybe you need to get outside. For me, you know, sometimes I'll go outside during nap time, get some fresh air. Sometimes I'll just open the window. Sometimes I'll just take a minute when I know that they're occupied playing, just step outside for a minute, get some fresh air. That is really going to help you just kind of, you know, detox for a few minutes, even if it's like 3 minutes of fresh air. Sometimes that's really all you need, is just a little bit. Or maybe you need to declutter the inside of your house. We've been kind of doing some spring cleaning here, just like deep cleaning, purging. And it just feels so much better to kind of have our physical space in order. And maybe that's the space that you're craving. Maybe you just need, a little less clutter, and maybe you can find some of those things that you purge. Maybe you can flip them and sell them, and then you get the physical space and the financial space at the same time, which is a win-win, of course. And that's going to give you mental space as well, because anyone knows that a clean house can fix anything, and give you lots of mental space. So if you've been craving mental space, which is kind of where I have been lately, and some things that have helped me is taking a technology break, picking a certain time of night where maybe you don't take your phone to bed with you. Maybe you set it somewhere where you can't reach it, and you don't play on your phone while you're in bed. Or, giving yourself a certain amount of time in the morning, which is I've been trying to do, is kind of let myself wake up a little bit before I grab my phone, which was a really bad habit that I was into. Or, setting a timer where you don't check your phone for an hour or 2 hours or whatever you set your timer for, or even taking a whole day off social media or the whole weekend, and just kind of getting that mental break from the world and all of the information and all of the noise that's always in our face all the time. Even if it's good, even if it's positive, even if it's people we love, sometimes we just need that mental break from technology. So some other things that you can do that have helped me lately is kind of on the same page as taking a technology break, is I feel like I'm constantly staring at a screen. So I'm either working and staring at my computer, or I'm on my phone either working or just, scrolling through social media, or I take a break and I'm watching TV. So I feel like I'm constantly like staring at a screen. So some things you can do if you feel like that and you just feel like it's, you need that mental space, that mental break from staring at a screen all day. Pick up a book, read a physical old-fashioned book, or listen to a book or listen to a podcast. A lot of the times I'll put on a podcast, I'll put on my Bible app with the audio feature, and I'll turn my phone upside down so I'm not looking at the screen, and I'll put it somewhere where I can't reach it, where I can't, go and check Instagram or whatever, and I'll listen instead of staring at the screen, and I can do something else. Sometimes I'll sit outside and do that, or I'll do a puzzle, or I'll clean or something like that, so I'm not staring at a screen, and that really gives me a good mental break. Or just listening to music. That's something that I kind of tried to get better into lately. I remember, which I don't know if you guys are the same way, but I remember a lot of times when I was a teenager, I would lay in my room for hours and hours and hours and just lay on my bed and stare at the ceiling and just listen to music for hours and hours and hours. And, I remembered like that's when I did my best thinking, and we just don't do that as adults. We don't create that time for ourselves. So, maybe that's something that you want to do, is just kind of lay on the couch, lay on your bed, listen to some music, and just kind of relax, not stare at a screen, or sit in the quiet. It's really crazy, a really crazy thing to think of a parent sitting in the quiet. But I do that sometimes, I'll put my kids to bed and I'll just sit and just think. And that's something that is a challenge for me, but has been really, really helpful these past few months as I've been, working on my balance and creating that mental space with myself. Or journaling. Journaling is a great way to get it out of your head onto the paper and kind of clean that mental slate. Or picking up a new hobby. Maybe there's something that you've been wanting to do and you feel like you haven't had the time to do. You have to create that time. So put that on your to-do list, put it on your goals list, and find the time, make the time to pick up that new hobby or revisit an old hobby. I've been doing a lot of puzzles, and it's something that I used to love to do when I was younger. With my mom and my sisters, we would just sit and we would talk and we would do puzzles. And, it's something that I got so busy, and I kind of realized, like, gosh, I don't even remember the last time I've done a puzzle. So I literally had to put it on my to-do list, put it on my goals list so I would do it. And now I'm doing like a puzzle a week and I'm loving it. I'm just sitting, I'm, listening to my Bible app or listening to a podcast or music or, watching the kids play. And it has really been a good mental break for me to kind of pick up that old hobby and something that I used to love to do. And I had to make the time to do it because, that time's not going to just appear out of nowhere. So remember to put those things on your to-do list, or maybe you need to cut something from your to-do list. So a lot of times, we're busy, and we feel like, there isn't time to do the things that we really want to do, when truthfully, there are a few things that we could probably cut. There are some things that we could say no to. There are things that could wait, things that aren't as important. So if you feel like you're really needing that mental break, which is something, that I've been needing lately, I've been saying no to more things. I've been realizing, when could I just order that on Amazon and that would save me one less errand? That's something that, I could just stay home. I don't have to go do right now. Or doubling up on errands. That's something that I really like to do. Try to get a lot of our errands done in one day, so I don't feel like I'm going every single day. So look for those places that you feel like you really need a mental break, and what can you cut? What can you kind of merge? What can wait till later? What isn't really important? And where are you kind of feeling like I'm just craving some outside time, or I'm craving, I miss that old hobby, really pay attention and create that space for yourself, because you guys, this life is important. And, we really have to take this seriously and create that space, especially if you are feeling, out of the flow, if you're not feeling like yourself, and you're just really craving whatever kind of space it is, if it's financial space, if it's physical space, if it's mental space, or all of the above, which I've been in the place of needing all of the above. So whatever it is, don't be afraid to hit pause, slow down, create that space where you can breathe and really focus on what truly matters. So that is it for me. I just really want to jump on here and hang out with you guys. So thank you for watching. I'm going to go ahead and end the broadcast on YouTube, but I'll hang around for just a couple more minutes on Facebook. So thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you guys next week. Bye.